Welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 34. Today we're going to recap some of the week 6 slate of NFL games as well as week 7 NFL slate predictions. No rundown today as me and Luke just kind of ran out of time this week. But yeah, we'll still get in our predictions and talk about a few of the important games from last week. As well as take a little look at tonight's Thursday Night Football. So, yeah, we're having some audio and video issues for just me and Luke, so hopefully the audio is good to go. But
here's the thing.
Although Luke is constantly cutting out
you
for
could call
me,
me,
so we're going to make the best of it.
Sorry. All right, you could call me a hero because I'm battling incredible amounts of dehydration. I literally was crawling on my floor a few moments ago. I've been yakking in the bathroom for a while now. And obviously the internet problem. So the fact that we're even here recording, I'm kind of a hero. I don't want to self-proclaim myself that, but in this instance, I think it's worth it. So, Cam, am I still there with you, or do you want to recap some games?
I heard about 7 to 10 words of what you said. I did hear the words "I am a hero" like 3 or 4 times, so I think we're good.
Okay,
I think we're good to go to get into some games. Hopefully you're all right. First one that I think we should go ahead and get into is just start off strong here. Buccaneers Steelers. I mean, last week we put this down. First off, we'll just start off with this. We went 8-6 last week, so at least over 500. But there was just a lot of surprising games last week. Buccaneers at Steelers. Last week we had this down as an easy win for the Buccaneers. Yeah, pretty much. And it was anything but a lock, as Tom Brady really struggled after going to Robert Kraft's wedding and missing some practices this week. He was yelling at his offensive line. Steelers' offense still wasn't good, and in fact, Kenny Pickett got concussed. But Mitch Trubisky came in to finish the game, went 9 of 12 for like 100-something yards and threw a game-winning touchdown to Chase Claypool, who is now being targeted by the Packers, who just lost to the Jets 27-10.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the times in Green Bay right now are they're not good right now. The loss to the Giants in London, we're kind of like, okay, the Giants played good. The Giants are surprisingly good this year, but then you lose to the Giants and Jets back to back. The offense looks really, really bad in both games, and you just start to worry a little bit here because we don't look like the same Packers. But at the same time, the NFL this year is so incredibly mid, with the exception of like the Eagles and the Bills, maybe, and the Giants because they've been good as well. Everybody else is just mid.
I think the Chiefs are
Chiefs
good
too. I'd say that. Yeah. But the rest is just mid. Like the entire NFC right now, if you look, like all the teams that we expected to be good, right? The Buccaneers, the Packers, and the Rams. Those were the 3 teams we expected to kind of run the table going into this year. And all of them right now are sitting at 3-3, and none of them have really looked good at all this year at any point. The Rams offensive line is awful. The Packers offense, their receivers are awful. And the Buccaneers defense looks all right, but their offense is just, they can't get it going. And it's wild to see this happening in the NFC right now. The Giants are running the table. They're 5-1. You got the Falcons who are 3-3 hanging in there. You got the Seahawks who are 3-3. You just got these teams that are hanging in there and just like making a case. The Falcons like might be good. So as a Packers fan, I'm not quite worried yet. But if we lose this week to the Commanders, it's panic time, because then the next week we have to go to Buffalo for Sunday Night Football, and that's going to be a loss. So if we lose this week, we're going to be sitting at 3-5, and that's panic time. So I would say this is a must-win week for the Packers.
Personally, I think out of the three teams, the Rams, Packers, and Buccaneers, I do think that the Buccaneers and Packers have the best chance to kind of revive themselves. And the team that I expect that has the best chance overall is actually the Packers, because they are the only one of those three teams that isn't injury plagued. So that is one thing that's kind of bad about the Packers, is they're not even really injury plagued and they're still losing, but they're also not injury plagued. So they have a shot to develop and get better. Buccaneers offensive line has been battling so many injuries from the offseason to now. Tom Brady's struggling a little bit right now, and the whole offense is. And then, every week you have Julio Jones, Chris Godwin out. Cameron Brate has a concussion now, so just not great. And then, as Luke mentioned, with the Rams offensive line, just completely injured, and the guys that they have in right now are just not very good. So, yeah, I mean, of those three teams, I do think the Packers have the best chance of being good. Then I would say the Buccaneers, but yeah, it's just all three teams have had very 500 starts. So not the worst thing in the world, because half the league is like roaming around 500, but they've got to start picking it up, because they truly are playoff contenders and, Super Bowl hopefuls at the beginning of the year, but not right now. But give some credit to the Jets. I think they're 4-2 now. 4-2.
Yep.
And
they're looking good.
They have some really, their whole team is really young. So, that division has turned out to be pretty good right now, all of a sudden, because the Patriots have bounced back all of a sudden. The Dolphins, when they get Tua back, they're probably going to be back to normal. And then you obviously have the Bills and now the Jets. So that was a conference at the beginning of the year that we were like, yeah, Dolphins might be good and the Bills are probably going to be good. But now we're looking at this conference being like, man, all four of those teams are not easy wins once again. So interesting to say the least there. But yeah, shout out to the Jets. And Sauce Gardner, who stole that guy's, or I don't know if he stole it. A Jets fan probably, knowing the Jets fans, they probably actually had a cheese head and just gave it to Sauce. And then I think it was Lazard came over and knocked it off of his head, which was funny. But yeah, they're looking good too. I mean, Breece Hall and Michael Carter in the backfield are looking good.
Breece Hall, man. Breece Hall is a beast. And that entire Jets offensive line is playing just out of their mind right now. The Jets offensive line is playing good. Zach Wilson is doing just enough to win the games. And then that defense, wow.
Quinnen Williams is alive.
Mm-hmm. He's very much alive and he's active.
Yes.
So I mean, their play, just like the defensive play, has been really, really good. So, they're a solid team looking down the stretch. I don't know who they have this week. Give me a second just to look. But who do they have this week, Cam? I don't see.
They have
a
bye
this week.
No, they play the Broncos.
The Broncos.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in
Denver
for the Jets in that game.
Yeah, in Denver.
Yeah. So we'll get to the recap later, but the Jets. Hey, man, the NFL might be a turning point year for the NFL. You got the Bills that are good, you got the Jets that are good, the Giants, the Eagles. You just got these teams that are never like top dogs, starting to become good. So, just been a wild season, and the fact that we have a winning record on these picks is, I'd say it's an accomplishment.
Well, here's the thing about us: we're up 4 games in our picks right now. But the amazing thing about this is that we started off 12-20. And so that's through 2 weeks. And the reason why, because the NFL, it's not only super hard to bet, but it's also even super hard to pick, and especially the first 2 weeks, because you have no idea what you're going to get. That's why I think we've kind of evened out as we've come down the stretch here and nearing towards the midway point, which is sad to think about, but nearing the midway point is we've kind of evened out because you kind of understand what you've got and then you can make some clearer picks. But that being said, you still have games, like we said, like the Buccaneers at Steelers, where you're like, okay, just pencil that in as an easy Buccaneers win. But because it's the NFL, Steelers get the win, So it has been a wild season. It's been a wild football season in general, as the college football season has been wild. But I mean, Luke's right. This could be a little bit of a turning point. Although this is also, if you're a true NFL fan and you have been your whole life, for me and Luke, it's kind of hard to say this because while we've been fans pretty much our whole life, we haven't lived that long. But this is the nature of the NFL. Teams, they become good, and then eventually you level off, and then you become bad, and then eventually you become good again. So that's kind of the cycle of the NFL. And unless you're Bill Belichick, you just hold on to being good for 20 years. But teams come and go, and we have a new slate of teams coming up here through the future years of the NFL, which is fun.
Yeah, and another team I forgot to mention that's playing really well, the Vikings. That's part of the panic mode for the Packers right now, is that usually when the Packers aren't playing like to their best, the rest of the division just sucks. So like we're like, okay, we'll win the division anyway. But this year the Vikings are really, really good, and they're making it tough for the Packers to catch them. So the Packers they may not have a game in Lambeau this year. They might have to do it on the road as a wild card team. That's what it's looking like anyway at this point.
Yeah, that's tough. But then again, the Packers always lose at home in the playoffs. But then again, I guess they always lose if they have to go to Levi Stadium.
It doesn't matter where.
So, yeah, never mind. I thought I was onto something there for a second, but no, not really.
Yeah, we've lost at Lambeau, lost at Levi, lost at Lumen, which was then what was the Seahawks field before Lumen? It was something, whatever. CenturyLink Field. We lost there. We lost in the Dome in Atlanta. All kinds of places. It doesn't matter where we play, we're going to lose. So,
yeah.
I mean, I just want to make the playoffs. That's what I'm worried about right now.
Yeah, you guys have got to worry about getting there. So, it's so weird being a Steelers fan. I don't even have my eyes on the playoffs. That is the first time in my life. There's been times in my life, like last year especially, where we were just fighting to get in, but you knew once you got in, you're just going to get pummeled. So it was different. But this year, it's completely different. It's like we better get scouting for the draft. That's and looking at free agents. But
that's sometimes for bad teams. That's the highlight of the year. I mean, if you go into your team's bad, but then you go in and you get a high draft pick, boom, next year you got a new toy. So,
yeah, I mean, as before their win against the Buccaneers, they had the number 1 pick in the draft, but they've obviously lost that with the win. So, the Steelers have no idea how to tank. I mean, that is just not in their DNA. So they are probably going to fail miserably at that, especially with Mike Tomlin. I mean, he doesn't want to get fired. So I don't want him to get fired.
They'd fire him.
I would hope not, No, I don't want him to. Yeah. And I don't think they would right off the bat, but some Steelers fans have had enough of them just because of the fact that they haven't won a playoff game in forever. It was the last time they won a playoff game was against the Dolphins right before that shootout game with Blake Bortles in the AFC divisional round. But so it's been a while, and Steelers fans are, they're just not used to losing and not used to not making the playoffs and not used to not getting playoff wins, so that they're really antsy and really anxious for it. But it's different being in this kind of the playing field, but it does let you kind of just step back and enjoy the rest of the games a little bit. So that's nice too.
Yeah. I mean, some other games that we can talk about. I mean, what are some good games that we missed? What am I trying to think of right now? The Falcons. That was the one game that I said I wanted to veto, but I ran out of vetoes. I was going to pick the Falcons in that. So
yeah, that was a good call on your end. Also,
I just had a feeling in that game.
the
Go
reasoning
ahead.
for my pick in that game was that Nick Bosa was going to play, and he didn't play. So, kind of a so that just want to put that out there, but so that did hurt me. But
But the Falcons, they might be good. The only downside of the Falcons right now is that they're a young team. They don't have a lot of superstars, and they cannot beat the Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers are going to be the team that they're competing with in the South because the Panthers are already eliminated from the playoffs, and the Saints, I don't know what's going on with the Saints. They're playing the Cardinals this week on Thursday Night Football, but if it flies, it dies. So they must win. They have to win, and but the South is going to be the Falcons are going to be competing, and I would not be surprised if I see at the end of the year the Falcons sneak into the playoffs as a 6 or 7 seed. I don't think they're going to win the division, but the way that they're playing right now, their defense is playing good, and they are just running the hell out of the football. Like they just run it down the team's throats, and it works. So why stop it? It's like Michigan football right now. Michigan keeps blowing teams out, but they're not really passing. They're just running the ball, and it works. So why stop it? And the Falcons are 3-3, and they're looking like they might be a wild card team.
I don't know if I can put that much on them to be a wild card team. I personally can't even say that they're good. I think they're all right. I think they're like an 500 one game below 500 football team again, and so I mean that's what their record shows right now. So that's not like saying much, but I mean they're getting some wins at home, but like you said, they don't really have the star power, and not that you need it to like just get in the playoffs, but you do need it down the stretch. So I don't think they're going to be able to make it in, but I just think that there's better teams. I do think that, like I said, like that the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Packers, that if they can find their rhythm, then the Falcons are really going to have no chance because those teams will take up those slots. So, yeah. And you still got to think about, I mean, there's not that many open slots for the playoffs. I mean, especially with teams like the Vikings and the Giants taking some, spots this year that we didn't really expect them to take. And there's also
I
a
think you
possibility.
expected the Vikings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did. You're right. But like, I didn't. I'll be honest. Remember, I just kept saying, "Oh, I just have this feeling about the Vikings that they're going to be really good," but I didn't have a feeling about the Packers that they were going to be this bad. So, it's just weird. And then another team that's playing pretty similarly to how the Falcons are playing is like the Seahawks. They're 3-3, and they're kind of on the same level as the Falcons right now, as they're winning
I have
some
a
of their
theory
home
about
games.
the Seahawks.
What's your theory? Drop it.
Okay, so this goes in kind of with the Broncos right now, with Russell Wilson, obviously. So Russell Wilson has been really bad this year, as has the entire Broncos offense, really. But it's led by Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett, former Packer. But Russell Wilson, you wouldn't have thought that Seattle would ever trade him, right? He was like a top quarterback in the league, absolute stud.
Untradeable.
And then, yeah, untradeable. And then this offseason, they traded him away, and now he sucks. And there's no other way to put it. He sucks now. This year, 6 weeks in, he is terrible. And he's an eyesore to watch, too. And it's a shame because by the way, we're only halfway done with Broncos primetime games this year, so just buckle up. But what if the Seahawks and Pete Carroll, for example, because remember whenever they traded Russell Wilson, we said, why doesn't Pete Carroll just retire? The Seahawks are obviously going into a rebuild. Why would you, if you're that old, I mean, he's 70 years old, why would you want to stick around for a rebuild? That doesn't make any sense. You've had your success in college football. You've had your success in the NFL, one of the only coaches to win a college national title and a Super Bowl. Why would you stick around for this rebuild? Maybe it's because he didn't see it as a rebuild. Maybe he just saw it as a new start. because Geno Smith has been playing better than Russell Wilson. And, they got Noah Fant. They got, what was the defensive lineman's name that they got too? And then they also got 2 first-round picks. So maybe they're just reloading. It's not a rebuild, it's a reload. And maybe that's what Pete Carroll saw it as, and we didn't. And that's why he stuck around. And so now we're seeing that the Seahawks are playing, way above expectations. And while I don't, they're not going to be the Seahawks of the past, where they just dominate everyone, but they're going to be frisky. They're going to be hanging around. They're a solid football team, and they're very well coached. And that's my theory about it, is that maybe it wasn't a rebuild after
all. That's interesting to think about, that it's not a rebuild, because I don't think that it's reloading because they don't have that many great players. But I will drop this tidbit in here.
They have a great offense.
Andy Dalton just threw a second pick six within the last 4 passes. So, it's not a fly as it dies. So
he's killing it if it flies, it dies.
Yeah,
Andy Dalton, man.
Yeah, the first one wasn't his fault, but that one was his fault. So I really liked the Cardinals in this one, but I don't want to take away your "it flies, it dies." I've already tried that once this year, but this is just not looking good now. All of a sudden,
throws a pick six, and 4 passes later, another pick six. So
I don't know if it was 4. It may have been 3. It may have been 2.
It was 4. I just looked it up.
Okay, I wasn't keeping track, but I was like, okay, that was 3 or 4 passes ago. And there's the 2-point try, so it's 28-14 now. Very quick swing, as this was just tied up moments ago.
Taysom Hill time.
But yeah, another game that we should talk about real quick before we get to our predictions. Actually, 2 more, but we'll make it somewhat quick. Bills and Chiefs. This wasn't the shootout that we were all expecting, but it was, except Tony Romo. He literally called it on the air, midway through the second quarter. He goes, Jim, this is going to be more about a 24-20 type of game. And he was literally spot on. So that's why he gets paid the big bucks. And it was still a good game, because literally every time that Mahomes and Josh Allen are on the field, you just want to watch it. And, yeah, they were both still pretty good. It was weird. It just was a weird feeling that the game ended on a Mahomes pick. But you kind of had that vibe. I don't know why, but I had that vibe on that drive that they were not going to score. So,
I did not. I had the vibe that they were.
I did. So, in fact, it was funny when I was sitting there. I was doing some Jesus Christ, that guy just fell on the kick return. I just go, I think they're going to turn it over here, and the Bills are just going to close it out. And a couple plays later, Mahomes threw a pick. So I don't know. It just didn't. I feel like we weren't given exactly what we earned. As fans, we expect that to be another just all-time classic, and it was a good game, but not an all-time classic. So. Maybe they had that one. Maybe the all-time classic will come in the playoffs. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Hopefully. Yeah, that was certainly a good one. There was one other note that I had about a game, but I can't remember what it was. So I guess we'll skip it.
Yeah, Cowboys-Eagles, Sunday Night Football. Once again, the Eagles were up 20-0, and then they just let the Cowboys come right back. In the second half.
Almost covered.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
If Brett Maher would have made that field goal at the end of the game, they would have covered. So,
yeah, and he just barely missed it too. But yeah, Cooper Rush. This was a good game for Dak in the terms of okay, Cooper Rush is Cooper Rush, and we don't have to worry about a controversy really with Dak coming back. We can just bring him back and he'll be good to go after that game. But Cooper Rush did play good in the second half. He just did throw an interception still, but it was kind of, late in the game. He was just trying to make some stuff happen as they were down.
Yeah, Cooper Rush did his job. He started, it was his 5th start. So 5th start in a row. You come in and you go 4-1. in your 5 games that you start. That's exactly what you want from your court. I mean, the Cowboys would have been fine if you went 2-3 or 3-2, but instead
Yeah,
he
you're right.
overshot their expectations. So he did more than just keep them in. He brought them in. So
Yeah, this is what the
he did his
Browns
job.
wanted with their set.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
their
but
team isn't as good as the Cowboys.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Unfortunately.
exactly right. Their defense, Cowboys' defense is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not going to like this, but I think Mike McCarthy is doing a solid coaching job this year. And I know a
Yeah,
big
because he
part of
knows
it is
he's on
Dan
the line.
Quinn too, and a big part of it is Dan Quinn. But I think even Coach Mike McCarthy is doing good this year. And I know you don't want to hear that, but I like Mike McCarthy. I think he's funny. So, yeah, shout out to him. And then Broncos Chargers. That was not a horrible game, but I think it
It was
kind of got this
funny.
narrative that it was a horrible game because of Russell Wilson and the Broncos. I mean, there still wasn't a whole lot of offense. Some crazy notes about this game was, think about this. So Justin Herbert's line for throwing a touchdown in a game is usually like, you're not going to make a lot of money off of it. It was plus 100 for this game. And so a bunch of people nationwide betted it because they're like, one touchdown by Justin Herbert, who threw the ball over 50 times on Monday night, by the way. They're like, that is easy doubling your money. But it's the Broncos defense, and Vegas booking guys know exactly what they're talking about. And Herbert did not even throw a touchdown pass, and he threw it over 50 times. And that's just crazy how good Vegas bookie people are. But
That's a classic example of the Vegas trap. They set a
it
line,
is.
and you just look at it, and you're like, this is too obvious. And it's a trap, and you're like, this is too obvious you have to bet this, but they know something that you don't. So
Yeah.
the sooner you see those traps, the better you'll be. I mean, you'll never be a perfect gambler. It's just how it is. But
Yeah. And then some cleanup right before we get to our picks. Vikings big win over the Dolphins to improve to 5-1, but they went up against some scrub quarterbacks. Bengals had a really nice win in Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow's return to New Orleans against the Saints. Giants huge win over the Ravens, another big game by Saquon and that defense, and Lamar just continues to overthrow guys. Which is not good. Patriots cruised against the Browns, and Bailey Zappi looked good again. So that's an interesting thing. And I think Luke talked about Commanders Bears. Actually, I don't know if he did or not, but Commanders Bears. Commanders did just enough to edge out the Bears 12-7. That one was a complete eyesore. But yeah, that's the week, and I think we're ready to do some predictions.
You forgot one more game that the Colts beat the Jaguars in a very, very close game. Big get right game for the Colts.
Game.
And then the Rams beat the Panthers because the Panthers are ass.
Yeah, and Seahawks beat the Cardinals 19-9. That one was bad looking, and that was a game that was like Geno Smith, looked like regular Geno Smith and not the good Geno Smith. But they still won, and that's how it is in the NFL. And you know what?
Wilson,
back to what Luke was saying. Actually, Russell Wilson actually had a bunch of games like that as a Seahawk as well. And like I just said, that's sometimes just the NFL. You'll win 19-9 and you'll take it. So, yeah,
it's the flow of the game.
Yes, it is.
All right, so you want to get into the picks here? It is my week to pick first.
Yep.
And this week I picked the Saints, which Andy Dalton is choking away that pick, and in the one chance that we might have to see a team beat every single Bird team in a season. This is the one chance that a team had, and Andy Dalton is blowing it. So this is even more reason to hate redheads, hate gingers across America. They ruin life. So if you have a ginger friend, make sure you tell him how much he sucks. I'm just kidding, by the way.
Except
Andy
Jack
Dalton
Lyman
does not represent. He doesn't represent all gingers, but Andy Dalton does suck. So that's my pick. Do you? I guess it's a little late to veto that, considering we're halfway through the game. But
Yeah, it is.
that'd be
But
a little,
like I said,
that'd be a little late.
I definitely had the Cardinals. I mean, I think the Cardinals are another team that are looking for bounce back wins, and they're at home and they're wearing the all black jersey. So I don't know if you knew that or not, but
Well, I remember when I texted you who I had, and I said I got whoever is the home team tonight. Like they're so these teams are so mid. I do not care. I'll just
yeah,
take the home team. And then I remembered that it's
that
the
it was if
Saints
it
if it
flies
flies
or
or
dies.
dies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so I was like, well, we have to take the Saints then. So I guess technically I would have taken the Cardinals if it wasn't for history on the line that you just root for. And then, which
yeah,
could still happen, by the way. Buccaneers
yeah.
at Panthers. It's got to be Buccaneers. There's no way the Panthers beat the Buccaneers. There's no way. This can't happen.
I agree, but that's what we said last weekend. So
true. I think the Steelers are a little better than the Panthers, though.
yeah, I would say that their defense is better than the Panthers. Their offenses are actually pretty similar. Good wide receivers, and not great quarterback play, and not good offensive line play.
Steelers also have better coaching too, but
Yes,
then we'll
they
go
do.
to this. Speak of the devil, the Steelers and Dolphins. Tua is back this week, so we got to go Dolphins.
Okay, no argument for me. I that's Sunday night too. So,
oh yeah, I forgot about that. Why did you put that third then?
it was because I realized that too. It was because on my phone when I was looking at the slate, it does your favorited teams up top. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just going to talk a minute though about the NFL. What the hell is this week's primetime schedule? Saints and Cardinals, Dolphins and Steelers, and then Bears and Patriots. I'm sorry, but that's not appealing at all. I mean, that's like watching the Commanders and Bears over and over again. This is back-to-back weeks we put the Bears in prime time. What the hell is going on? What do we do? What are we doing? What are we doing?
This is all, I don't have an answer for the Bears part. I don't have an answer for your Bears part, but these are done before the season even starts. And at the beginning of the season, Saints at Cardinals looked like a beautiful game for a Thursday night. And it has been. It's not a bad game. Like I said, it was like 14-14 until Andy Dalton threw 2 picks. Steelers and Dolphins, kind of the same way. I mean, you kind of expected the Steelers to be – I expected them to be around 500, one game above 500. Typical, Steelers with a, pretty bad quarterback. They're still going to win games, and they just haven't. And the Dolphins, everybody thought the Dolphins were probably going to be solid.
Look at the last one, games, though.
Bears Patriots is really bad.
Like Chiefs 49ers, Browns
that
Ravens.
One should be Sunday night.
Colts and Titans, like all those games would be better Sunday night than this one. Even at the beginning of the year.
Chiefs at 49ers should be. I have no idea how that wasn't Sunday night. Because it's it's in San Francisco too, and that is just I like that game a lot.
That's a game of the week. So it should be prime time, I guess.
Should be.
Yeah. We'll move on. Falcons at Cincinnati Bengals. Man, this is a tough one. Because the Falcons, I think the Falcons match up really well with the Bengals, but the Bengals are at home. They may be wearing the whiteout jerseys. You never know. And they seem to be back on track. Jamar Chase had a fantastic game last week. So I'll go Bengals.
All right. Like I said, I kind of talked about earlier, I don't think that they're that good, the Falcons. So I'm fine with that pick.
You highlighted this one before I even picked it. What if I wanted to pick the Lions?
I just don't think you will.
Coming off a bye week? No, Dak Prescott's coming back. It's Cowboys.
It's Big D at home.
Colts and Titans. I know. In Jarrett World. Colts and Titans. Man, oh man, oh man. Colts and Titans. This anything can happen in this game. So nothing, this is just a pure guess on my part. I think the Titans won the first matchup, and I think the Titans usually have pretty good luck against the Colts. And the Titans are at home, so I'll go Tennessee. I'll go the Tits. And then Packers at Commanders. Just based on the fact that I think the Packers season might be over if we lose this game, I'll go with Packers. Because I don't think Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur will let this game slip away.
I sure hope not.
Taylor Heineke is starting. It's just a game we have to win. And we are in the wide receiver market, it appears. Chase Claypool, we appear to have interest in him. Odell Beckham, even though I don't know how we have no cap space, so I don't know how we'd sign Odell. Same thing with Deshaun Jackson. There was rumors going around about him. I think he went to the Jets, though, if I recall.
No, he's a Raven. He's a rat bird.
Oh yeah, that's right, Ravens.
Another bird team for him.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's. I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully we get one because we need one. But regardless, it doesn't affect this week's game. Packers.
Although, one thing I want to talk about in that game, Taylor Heineke, fun to watch. Sometimes it hurts to watch, but usually it's pretty fun. He just does crazy shit. He'll just run into people. He will just throw it all over the place. So I'm excited to watch him in that game. But you also have to keep in mind, Luke, we are one Taylor Heineke crazy play resulting in a Taylor Heineke injury away from Sam Howell getting his debut as a Commander. So I'm not saying I'm rooting for Taylor Heineke to get hurt. I'll just put this on the record. I'm definitely not rooting for him to get hurt because I actually like Taylor Heineke a lot. But, he does – his style of play doesn't really always translate in the NFL just because, guys get hurt in the NFL because guys on defense are freaking insane athletes and they hurt people. So it would not shock me if Sam Howell plays in this game or within the next 4 weeks because Taylor Heineke is bound to get hurt.
Well, here's the thing. Like when I saw that that Carson Wentz was out and Taylor Heineke was starting the game, the feeling that I had of us winning this game went down. Like I would rather play the Commanders with Carson Wentz. I think we would run the table on a Carson Wentz-led Commanders team. But the thing about Taylor Heineke is he has that ability to just break out and throw for like 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, run for 100 yards, and just take over a game. Now, granted, it would be very unfortunate if that happened, but he has that ability. Carson Wentz, I don't think does. I think
anymore.
The Commanders would win in spite of Carson Wentz. And Taylor Heineke, I think, could actually help the Commanders win a game. So I am more scared. So why they weren't starting him all along, I don't know. But, Ron Rivera seems to really like Carson Wentz. He seems like a good guy, but he's just not a good quarterback anymore.
Yep.
So, yeah, but I'm very nervous. Let's just say that. But I'm still picking the Packers because it's a desperation pick. And then our next one, Giants at Jaguars.
This smells like a trap game. This smells like a trap game for the Giants.
We've been saying that for the last 2 weeks, right?
Have we?
I want to pick the Jaguars. I'm taking the Jaguars.
Okay. I fully agree. That may sound crazy, but I just think that it's time for a Giants loss, and Jaguars need a win. God damn it, the Jaguars have sucked lately.
They were all right last week. They just lost. Both teams played well last week. I thought it was a really close game. It was a battle of two good teams. They played each other well, and I just think the Colts got the better of the Jaguars.
Doug Peterson,
they might have had a home field advantage. What was that?
Yeah, I just said Doug Peterson needs a win.
He does need a win. He hasn't had a win since the blowout of the Chargers. And, this is a great – I mean, the Giants, man, they just find a way to win, though. Like, they're not good. They just find a way to win. They're kind of like the Falcons. They're just running the ball.
Good coach team.
Good, hard-nosed defense. Well-coached team, similar to the Falcons. It's just I don't know how they keep doing it. Last week I was for sure the Ravens were going to beat them, and they just went into Baltimore and beat the Ravens. So I don't know, but I
Well, that
like the
was at
Jags in
home.
this game. But here, can we make an
That
agreement?
was at MetLife.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, can we make an agreement real quick? If the Giants win this game and move to 6-1, we have to pick them every single week until they lose.
Okay.
No matter who they play.
Okay.
Just because they would have proved us wrong 3 weeks in a row.
You're exactly right.
So, yeah.
I agree with that, so that's fine.
Browns and Ravens. I'm going to go the Ravens just because I think the Browns are awful and the Ravens are at home. So pretty easy.
This one
pick
I'm
for
interested
me.
to see what you have to say.
I know.
This next one.
This one's a tough one. I'm going to skip it. I'm going to go to Texans Raiders. That's a tough one too. I'm going to go back. Jets and Broncos. Jets at the Denver Broncos. The New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. At the beginning of the year, you'd think, oh, Broncos for sure all day. Now you're looking at it, and you see a very frisky team in the Jets, and then you just see a team who looks borderline dead in the Broncos. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Jets. I think the Jets have the bet. I think they have good energy right now. Robert Saleh, he's bringing the energy. He's saving the receipts, and the Broncos. You just see their body language. Jerry Jeudy hates Russell Wilson. Melvin Gordon hates everyone. He's not going to play, so they're going to have to rely on Latavius Murray.
Actually, I don't know if you saw, but after Melvin Gordon had a good talk with Nathaniel Hackett, he's going to be starting.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
They posted that on Twitter
more reason
after a nice talk. So
it's even more reason to pick the Jets. Because he is guaranteed to fumble throughout this game, just so you know. And Texans at Raiders. This is a good spot for the Raiders. They've been really, really struggling to start this year, but it's in Vegas. It's in the black dot in the middle of the desert, which is Allegiant Stadium, and the Texans just simply aren't that good. So I'll take the Raiders, and then Seahawks and Chargers. Man, this is weird. The Chargers are 4-2, but Brandon Staley is just a weird coach. I'll take anything can happen in this game. This is a Seahawks-Chargers game that we're talking about. This isn't anything can happen. I'll take the Seahawks. You can veto. You haven't.
I think I will. I think I will veto this one, honestly. And my reasoning is just because, like you said, they're 4-2. They're finding ways to win, and Herbert is healthy, and they didn't look horrible on offense against the Broncos, even though they only put up 19 points. Like they weren't getting a bunch of first downs, but well, now I'm kind of talking myself out of it. So I'm going to stop talking and just say Chargers.
Okay. No reverse veto from me because it was kind of a toss-up for me. Chiefs at 49ers. This is a great game. This might be the game of the week, which is kind of sad, but hey, I mean, every week can't be great. This is definitely a down week in the NFL. So Chiefs at 49ers. Both teams lost last week. I think the 49ers was a lot worse, though, going into the Falcons and kind of getting blown out. 14 points is a blowout in the NFL. And the Chiefs played maybe the best team in the NFL and barely lost. So, but man, it's in Candlestick. I'm kidding, not Candlestick. Levi Stadium. And oh man, I'm gonna shift this one to you, Cam. I'll let you
Chiefs
because I don't know.
Good to go, Chiefs.
I wanted to pick the Chiefs, but something about the 49ers is just pulling me in. But you know what? I'm on the train. Not the AFC. The NFC West sucks.
It's not great.
I'm out.
Who would have thought?
That was going to be for my in and out this week, that was going to be my out, was the NFC West. I think all the teams in there are poverty, except for the Seahawks. The Seahawks are good. And then Bears at Patriots. This is Patriots. They've looked solid. They've bounced back. At the beginning of the year, we were saying they were ass, but that was with Mac Jones, and I still think Mac Jones sucks.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi is
God,
good.
I hope they
and
start
the
Zappi.
defense has figured it out. And the Bears they suck even more. So
yeah,
and it's in New England in prime time.
I
Belichick
just
against a bad
really
team.
hope that they start Zappi.
Is Mac Jones even back?
I think they said he could play this week.
No.
So I hope they kind of do like a Dak situation and just like give him one more week to sit out. You know what I mean? To make sure that he's 100% good and just get Zappi another win. He might he might be better. So
I think he is. He's more exciting. Mac Jones he was a backup in college for a long time. Which that's actually a bad example because a lot of good quarterbacks were backups in college. Yeah. He won a national championship. So I don't know what I'm talking. That was a stupid thing to say. All right, so that wraps up our recap. We picked the Saints, the Bucks, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Titans, the Packers, the Jaguars, the Ravens, the Jets, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. And you want to do a segment? You want to do in and out? I texted you last night about getting one ready. I don't know if you did or not. Okay.
I had my in, and I got to think of it real quick. So I'm going to have you go first. Like, I had it like less than an hour ago. So
okay.
I gotta try.
I'm going to say mine. So a few nights ago, the NBA season started with a doubleheader on TNT. Last night, it really got underway. A lot of teams playing last night, playing their first game. And one player that was drafted that, me and Cam kind of shit on a lot this year. Not because he's bad, but because of his coach. He dominated, and I'm all in on Paolo Banchero. He's good.
Yeah. That poster was awesome.
And not just the poster, but I mean, he just played well all game. He didn't play like it was his first game in the NBA. He played like either he had been like this is the end of his rookie season or this is his second. He played like a veteran almost. This was literally his very first game in the NBA, and he played like a star. And so I think the Magic might have struck gold with that one. And the Magic are slowly building something. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs this year, and if they do, it'll just be like play in. But for the future, hey, watch out for the Magic. Don't make fun of me when I say that either. I know you're laughing. Look at their team. Look at their starting lineup.
I'm not laughing at you. I actually like the Magic. They have my boy Cole Anthony. I just saw one of the funniest missed kicks in a college football game. Virginia, Georgia Tech, some late night ACC action. Just really funny college kicker doink moment. That's what made me laugh. I like the Magic too.
Okay.
I like how young it is, and I like the city of Orlando. It's kind of a crazy, wild place to be in real life, but I like it. So I don't mind the Magic either. I do remember my in. So
okay, wait. Go. I'm going to say the Magic starting lineup before we switch topics. This was last night. Paolo Banchero at power forward, which seems weird because I thought he was a guard, but I guess he's a forward.
He's too big.
Jalen Suggs, beast. Wendell Carter, Franz Wagner, which if you remember him, I think he's pretty good. And then who is this T. Ross? Is this Terrence Ross? Yes, it is. Terrence Ross. So he's a veteran. You got to have a veteran role player. And then they got Cole Anthony, who didn't play last night. They got Bol and Mo Bamba. So how about that for names?
And Isaac.
And at the center position. Isaac Okoro?
No, I think his name.
Do they really? Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah, he hasn't played a game since he was 21 years old, and now he's 25. Fun stat.
That's kind of a funny stat. And
I
then
think
they
it
also
was
got
all
Gary
because of
Harris.
injuries. So
They got Gary Harris from the Nuggets, longtime Nugget. And then they also have a wild card. I don't know if you remember him, Markelle Fultz.
oh yeah, I
So
remember him. How could I forget?
it could be interesting. Could be interesting this year. I
That's
don't
a
know.
lot
And I
of
also picked
that team is just filled with college basketball superstars. Like not even guys that you just draft strictly off of like what you think that they can become. That is a team full of just college basketball studs. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Paulo. I mean, Paulo is a guy that has developmental
he is a
talent.
stud.
Yeah. But Wendell Carter, although he was good in college, but he's not that great of a dookie.
And then
So
shout out to the Pacers because I picked them. I tweeted out my NBA predictions. I think it was yesterday. And I picked the Pacers to sneak in as the 10 seed in the playoffs strictly because of my guy, Benedict Mathurin. He didn't start last night, but he put up 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 for 15 shooting, 3 for 7 from downtown, and just 27 minutes played. And he had 2 steals. So
good for him.
I mean, very solid debut. I think he's going to be a stud. So hey, shout out to him.
Yeah, that's
What's
a good
your
one. I actually have 2. So first one is just an update. Still haven't shaved my mustache lip hair. So that's still going, still riding strong on that now 3 weeks. Still not a whole lot there. And then my real in is this one might shock some people. I am so in on Nick Adams. He is hashtag back. I know we're circling back here, but I'm back on Nick Adams.
I followed him for the first time ever.
He is so at first when we said that we were out on him, or at least when I did, when we went that full week of reviewing tweets, his bad sports takes, his good takes, mostly bad stuff. We still couldn't confirm or not if he was just trolling. He is 100% now after like a month and a half later. He's just a huge troll, like one of the biggest internet trolls on the internet. And deep down, yes, he is a very red right Republican who loves Trump, but he is so funny about it. Like he knows that he's a weirdo and he loves it. And he just puts some of the wildest stuff out there. And he's really caught on with the internet in terms of like repetition is key. Like he is on, like the thing he's on right now is this alpha male stuff that he just constantly is repeating. Like he's got it like in his name, his bio, like everything he tweets has the word alpha male in it pretty much.
He tweeted out 50 minutes ago. He said, this is how an alpha male, God, I messed it up. This is how an alpha male eats ice cream. And he has a spoon he's got like the ice cream in a waffle cone, and then he's got a spoon that he's eating the ice cream with. So, I mean, to me, that doesn't seem like very alpha, but I mean, whatever floats his boat. And he's also making fun of Stacey Abrams and her weight and how fat she is, which to me, that's funny. I like fat jokes. So no offense if you're fat, but you got to be able to take the jokes if you're fat. So that's my opinion.
And if
you're fat, then obviously, so be it, but I'm gonna make jokes.
He only will go after Democrats and the woke left. Like that's the only people he makes fun of. And it's super repetitive. But my God, is it funny? I mean, geez, Louise, the way he's been attacking, he will literally boycott pretty much every single NFL, NBA, MLB team unless it's. He's in love with the Astros right now because they're not woke, according to him. He's in love with guys like Gardner Minshew, Tom Brady, American Patriots who haven't gone woke. So, just guys like that. It's just beautiful. Oh, Blake Bortles, which I respect the hell out of that. He loves Blake Bortles. So just
he wished
he's hilarious.
He wished NBA young boy.
Yeah, he wished NBA Youngboy
happy birthday.
a very happy birthday, and he wished Kamala Harris a very, very sad birthday. He tweeted that out as well.
Yep.
So very thoughtful of him. So yeah, that was my in, and it's. I'm not even gonna say it's pending. Like I'm in. So
yeah, I agree with that. I'm trying to find the Stacey Abrams one that made me laugh out loud. I think I might have sent it to you.
Yeah, you definitely did.
I'm not sure Stacey Abrams can fit through the front door of the Georgia's governor's mansion. Good thing we will never have to find out.
So mean.
And then a few hours later, he went even farther. And this tweet has been deleted. He deleted this one, but it says, "I'm concerned about the weight of Stacey Abrams. She's far too obese to be a governor in one of the most important states in the union. I'd like to have a doctor like Ronnie Jackson evaluate her health and determine if she is fit to serve before people head to the polls." Just completely out of pocket and so just unnecessary. But
I don't know what this guy's job is. What does this guy do? I know he wrote a book.
He's an author.
I think that's it. I think that's all he's done. And this is his job now. He tweets all day, every day. And like we said, it's
about
mostly
everything.
just Republican stuff, but he sprinkles in some wild stuff. Just crazy. So yeah, that's who we're back in on. Do you want me to give my out real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was out on ESPN and TNT last night. They were gatekeeping Zion Williamson's first game back. And not only was it Zion Williamson's first game back, it was Ben Simmons' first game back pretty much. And they just kept it from us. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Grizzlies and Knicks put on a great game. In fact, it went to overtime. But I still – and the Nets-Pelicans game was not a good game. The Pelicans blew them out. But I still would have rather have watched that, I think. Or at least have it on TV. I mean, give me the option to watch it. I know that the Knicks game was on ESPN, so put that on TNT. Give me the option to watch it.
But here's the thing: TNT owns the rights to hockey on Wednesday nights, so they can't do that.
See, that's their fault. That's why I'm out on. I was out on ESPN and TNT last night. So with that being said, I'm back in on ESPN today. But last night I was out. Basically what I'm trying to say is I was really disappointed that they kept Zion Williamson's first game back away from me. Like that is one thing I've been looking forward to. I'm still a big guy that says NBA shouldn't start till Christmas Day, and in our minds it doesn't. But I still
I will agree with
Zion. But
I wanted to watch that game too. If that game would have been on TV, I would have watched it. I would have watched it over the playoff game in the MLB, just because I like Zion. I like the Pelicans. They're a fun team. I picked the Pelicans to get the 6th seed in the West this year. So avoid the play-in. I think the Pelicans are going to take a step forward this year. Their team looks good. Brandon Ingram, great. And then CJ McCollum and Zion. They're looking good, and their coach, I forget what his name is, but I think he's a good coach. I'm in on him too. So
I'm also in on Herb Jones. I think he can take a big step this year. I hope he does. He didn't score a lot last night, but if you don't know who Herb Jones is, this is his second year, but he was the point guard at Alabama a couple of years ago. Really good. He's just an athletic freak. So people forget that these guys almost derailed the Suns' playoff run before it got derailed by the Mavs. They lost 4-2, and every single game was close. So,
yeah, that's true. It's a good point. My out is, I said it earlier, but the NFC West. I think they're bad. They suck. And then my other out is kind of weird. It's like reverse, but I'm out on the people that say the MLB playoff format is bad, because What am I trying to say here?
You're trying to
After
say
the
that the
Braves and
MLB
Dodgers lost,
playoff format is good.
yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Because after the Braves and Dodgers lost, people were like, well, it's too much rest for them. They shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 blah. But then the Yankees and Astros went and won their series. So I think the Braves and Dodgers just suck in the playoffs. I think it's their fault. That's my opinion on it. Cam, I got to run this back real quick if you want to talk for a little bit. But
okay. My opinion on that is pretty simple. I just think, I agree with the addition of games in the playoffs, for the wild card. I'm glad that it's not a one and done because Jesus, you play 162 games and you got a one and done, and then you lose that and you're out, and you had a good season, but you lose that and you're done. Sure, it's high intensity, it's fun for the fans to watch, but you can have that in game 2 and 3. Win or go home. Obviously, you have that whether it's a 3-game series, 5-game series, or 7-game series. But like Luke said, I like the playoff format this year. It's more teams, it's more fun, it's more games. And, people that are complaining about the Dodgers losses, the Braves losses, the extra rest, extra rest in the NFL is pretty much praised. You're fighting for that bye week. And I don't think that's really an excuse, personally. And at the end of the day, you just got to win. So you got to win. You got to be able to win playoff games. You got to be able to win, and whether it's regular season, but especially in the playoffs. So I don't think that extra rest is really a good excuse, or being rusty is a good excuse. You just got to flat out win. And the Dodgers should have won. They were the best team in baseball this year.
Yep.
So you just got to win. That's my take on it.
I like it.
Not a very good take,
sorry,
some might say, but you just got to win.
Yeah, I'm out on dehydration as well. I had a really dehydrated spell, so I've been chugging a bunch of water, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I chugged a bunch of water, so it got to me.
That's good. It's filtering you.
I know. I feel better, though. I feel better. Yacked a few times. All right, so I guess we kind of did just talk a little bit about baseball and the playoffs, but yeah, the Yankees are fighting their way back here in game 2. Hopefully they can win, because I'm in on with you, Cam. I want the Yankees to win, to beat the Astros.
Yeah,
I don't
you
like
should.
The Astros.
They've got some Cardinal greats, and I don't understand why people are just over hating the Astros. They didn't even get the proper time. Yeah, they didn't even get the proper hate from the fans because of COVID. And then people kind of just forgot about it. Not everybody forgot about it, but just too many people forgot about it. I don't know how you can just like that team. I know the Yankees are probably like the most hated team besides maybe the Astros, but I still think more people hate the Yankees than the Astros, because that's just how baseball fans are. But
I don't hate the Yankees.
No, I never have. But
I'm rooting for them right now.
But I don't hate the Yankees, so go Yankees. And the other side, I don't really care. Yeah, I like both of those
the Phillies
teams.
and Padres series, that's just a wild one. Everyone was talking about the NL is so strong. You got the Dodgers, the Braves, the Cardinals, the Mets, all like World Series contenders. And then here we are in the NLCS, and not a single one of those teams is around. So very weird. I think that's going to be a sneakily good series. I think it's going to go 7.
5-1-1.
And I think in game 7, I think we might see Zach Wheeler out of the bullpen or something like that. Everyone goes full ham. The Padres bullpen has looked amazing though, and if their offense can get rolling, they're gonna be looking good. I think the Phillies got to steal one here without Wheeler or Nola pitching. If they do that, they're back in it. But this is going to be a sneakily good series. I think the Astros might run the table on the Yankees in 4 or 5 games, and it might. Hopefully, I'm wrong, because I don't want that, but. The Yankees kind of got screwed by the rain too, because they got a rain out on Monday, and then Tuesday they had to play a day game, And then the next night they had to fly to Houston and start a new series. So they didn't really get any time to like celebrate. I don't know if you saw the clip of Garrett Cole in their locker room. He was just kind of like wimpily throwing beer, and then he took a drink and he looked really sad. That's kind of like the whole team vibe, I feel like, though, is like they're just kind of like, can we just get on the plane
tired.
because we have to be there tomorrow?
Yep. Also, just Phillies, Padres. Those are two teams that you're just happy to see as a fan of baseball, to see them kind of break through. So whoever wins that, you'll kind of just be happy for, in my eyes. Especially the Padres. I mean, they've like the Phillies, they were only like 5 games over 500 this year, but the Padres, they've been kind of like the team. They've got a bunch of young rising stars the past couple of years, and you've just been kind of waiting for them to break through. So that, I think it would be good for their fans if they were able to break through. But same with the Phillies, their fans have waited for their baseball team to be great for a while. And
well, here's the thing.
They're hoping that this is it.
There's two different things here. For the Phillies, I'm rooting for them because it would make the Cardinals' loss not look so bad. But I'm also rooting for the Padres, and this is weird because it hasn't been good being a Fernando Tatis fan the last few years. It's very hard out here because he's really put a bad image out for himself. But I think it would be hilarious if the Padres went to the World Series without Fernando Tatis playing a single game in the season. In like the whole talk about the Padres being this good team, being this World Series contender, everyone's like, oh, it's Tatis, Tatis, Tatis. And then if they go out and do it without him, that would be really, really funny. That would be peak comedy in the MLB because we don't get a lot of comedy in the MLB. So I think that would be nice.
Yeah. And I say this before every MLB season. The parity in the MLB pretty much trumps every other league every single year, it seems like. You just never know who's going to be good. And it was the same way this year. So I always applaud that with the MLB. Obviously, the NFL is having a wild parity season, kind of, where everybody's 500 and whatnot. But it's not always like that. But the MLB, it's always like this. So you got to tip your hat to the MLB, at least for that. So
shout out to me for picking every single playoff team, too, in the National League correctly. And
also shout out to your White Sox pick.
Yeah, well, the only pick I messed up, which I actually had them winning the entire World Series, if I recall, was the White Sox. Obviously, the Guardians won that division, but hey, it is what it is,
I think you had the Braves, so that's not too bad.
Did I? I think I had the White Sox beating the Braves.
Maybe you did.
I know I had. Yeah, I had the Braves in the World Series, but I don't think I picked them to win. I could be wrong, but I don't remember. I know I picked the Dodgers to win at the beginning of the postseason. That didn't work out well, but
no.
And then before I just had this idea literally in the middle. So you're gonna read off like the playoff matchups for each NFL team. Like, so the playoff, if the season ended today, what the playoffs would be, and I found an NFL game simulator online, and I'm just going to simulate the games and see who wins the Super Bowl.
Where do you want me to go for that?
I don't know, just go to cbssports.com or something and look at theirs. But before that, we already talked a little bit of NBA, but as we all know, it doesn't start until Christmas time anyway. But the Blues, they're back. They're in a playoff spot right now, and they're tied for the least amount of games played. So that's kind of nice. Shout out to them.
Where do you want me to look at the standings?
Yeah, they're just like the wild card. Do you have the CBS Sports app?
Okay, I've got it up right now.
Okay. All right, so I just keep that handy. We're going to use it in a second. Do you have anything to say about the Blues? Have you watched any games yet?
No, it was nice last night while I was doing homework. I got a nice little notification that said that the Blues were up 3-1 over the Kraken, so that was nice. But no, I haven't watched a single second.
All right. Well, the first game I didn't watch at all, but we won that handily. And then last night I watched the third period and overtime. And it was very frustrating in the third period, but because the Blues never had the puck, it seemed like. But in overtime, we got the job done, got the win, so that's all that matters. Hockey is very underrated, and it frustrates me that the league doesn't do more to promote it, because I think it could be a very, and it's popular in Canada, it's popular up in the Scandinavian countries in Russia. The league, I think, is just missing a huge opportunity here. So that it frustrates me with the NHL that they do that. They have a great TNT show also. Like the NBA has a great TNT show with Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith. But, it's kind of underrated. Paul Bissonnette was a huge ad for the NHL on TNT. I don't know who the other guys are, but I'm not hockey.
No,
I think Wayne Gretzky's on there. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool.
I guess I can just tell you why it hasn't taken off in the United States. It's just, the season starts in the middle of football season, whether you like it or not. And it also starts during the middle of the MLB playoffs. Not a great time to start. But in case you forgot, baseball is America's pastime and football is America's love. So it is just really hard to compete with those. So I think, NHL picks up a few more followers around February, around that time, kind of
Right
when
before
football ends. Yeah, right before the playoffs. And then it kind of loses, I think, some followers around March Madness. And then once March Madness ends, a bunch of them come back. So it's, I guess if the NHL is smart, maybe they just have their season coincide during the summertime with baseball, but that's not how it is. It doesn't sound right because that's not.
It's a winter sport.
It's not right. It is a winter sport, but I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just I don't think it'll ever really get to the height that big hockey fans want it to get to, just because there's not enough viewers to go around, Luke.
I know. I do know. Also, one more note before we get to the playoff simulator for the NFL. Shout out to sports, because today, October 20th, Thursday, obviously this is going to be yesterday by the time this comes out, but all 4 sports play. The NHL has a full slate of games. Obviously, Thursday night football, Yankees and Astros in the MLB, and then the NBA has 2 games. So this is one of only a few times a year that we get all 4. It's called the equinox, the sports equinox, when all 4 teams play, or all 4 leagues play, excuse me. And, it's a great sports day if you're a sports fan. No matter what you like, if you like hockey, basketball, football, baseball, there's something for you today. And I think Sunday is going to be true. College football as well. I think Sunday is going to be another one of those days. So this is a great time to be a sports fan. You got all of them going at once. You got, even one of them in the playoffs, startup of 2 different seasons. So it's just like, boom, perfect. It's just perfect if you're a sports fan like myself and Cam. So,
yeah.
All right, should we get to our...
Yeah, we can go ahead and get to that. I was just going to say, this year after I really, really enjoyed the NBA playoffs the past few years, and this past year I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm getting a head start this year. I'm already starting to turn on NBA games in the background. So shout out to me for getting a head start on the NBA, even though it doesn't start till Christmas Day. I'll still have it on in the background. So,
all right. See, I don't get into NBA until the playoffs. So, but this year, I like I said, there's some teams that just interest me, like the Pelicans interest me, the Heat interest me.
Love
there's just a few teams. Should we become a Pelicans podcast? Since St. Louis and Missouri doesn't have any NBA teams, so I think we have the right to adopt a team for the podcast.
Personally, I love the Pelicans, but I also can't adopt them just due to the fact that it is basically just Duke. So I really can't do that, even though I do love them. Doesn't make sense, but I can't do it.
Now that you say that, you're right. Where did CJ McCollum go? He didn't go to Duke.
Lehigh.
That's one of they beat guys. Duke.
Yes.
They beat Duke in the tournament.
But like, I'm a big UNC guy, big UNC rep online. And I don't know if I can just carry the weight that the Pelicans would be my team, because it literally is just it's Duke is like the feeder program for the Pelicans. And
Now that you say that, I get that. But
for some reason I have this ability to drop a lot of the hatred for those guys. It took me a while to drop it for Brandon Ingram, which is weird because it's not like he even really no, he was pretty dominant at Duke, but it's mostly been guys like Grayson Allen, JJ Redick, guys like that. I'll just never be able to like, really. But even though I don't mind JJ Redick in media, but but Zion, I've been drawn to him forever, so it's easy to root for him. But no, I can't adopt them.
So I guess that's going to be something that we'll have to discuss, and the listeners can help adopt a team too, because the Show Me Show needs to adopt a hockey team, or not a hockey team. I'm stupid. An NBA team. They need to adopt an NBA team.
I mean, the closest teams are like the Pacers and the Bulls.
Yeah, I'd be fine adopting the Pacers, but
we'll
leave it up to the listeners. How about that?
I can't root for a team that just sucks. I've already got enough of that going on in my sports life. I don't know if I really want to take on another one. That's why sometimes, like, I know the other day, I think I tweeted it out on the podcast account. I was like, I wish that St. Louis had an NBA team, and I would take it in a heartbeat, even if they sucked, just because, I would love to go to NBA games in St. Louis. And I know the rest of the city would too, but, I've got the Steelers right now. I've got the Cardinals right now. They just lost in the playoffs. Mizzou sucks. Luckily, Carolina is 6-1, but they literally stopped my heart every single weekend. Same thing last weekend. Won on a game-winning touchdown pass with 16 seconds left against Duke. So literally every single weekend I have to deal with that. It's just not great. And I think, honestly, you probably feel a little bit of the same way. Packers suck right now. So, I don't know.
I just feel. I root for the same team in different sports. I root for the exact same team. They just play different sports. The Cardinals, the Packers, and NCAA men's basketball, the Arizona Wildcats. Now, the other sports, I don't have like super passionate teams. But those three teams consistently dominate the regular season, and then they go into the postseason and they suck. It's the same story every year. That's how I feel about it. So, I'd be fine adopting a team that sucks, because then if we just make the playoffs, then it's like, okay, we're good now. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what you do in the postseason. So I'd be fine adopting a bad team.
All right. Are you ready to do the NFL thing, I guess? I have no idea what we're doing, but I do have it pulled up for you.
Okay. I think we start with the AFC. Give me the two. So I guess what I'm trying to do is, like, if the playoffs ended today, predict who would win the Super Bowl by playing out the playoffs through this NFL simulator, which looks like it's done by like an NFL, like a nerd, like a computer nerd has went through this and put a lot of math in it. So I guess we'll see how it turns out.
The Bills are just going to win it, aren't they?
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
If it's a math, then it probably will just be the Bills, but whatever. All right, let's just go.
Okay. Give me the 2-7 matchup in the AFC.
The 2-7 matchup right now is the Chiefs versus the Colts.
Wow, the Colts.
Yeah, it's because of the tie.
Holy shit. The Chiefs win 41-17. Not even a contest. All right, what's the next one?
Oh, what? Do you want the NFC 2-7?
No, we'll just do the AFC first. So 3-6 in the AFC.
You have the Tennessee Titans hosting the New York Jets.
Ooh. All right. I bet this is going to be the Titans. Titans win 27-20. Okay, so no upsets yet. What about 4 and 5?
Baltimore hosting the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, that's a fun game. Wow. Chargers blank the Ravens 27-0. So the Chargers move on.
I don't know if I could ever see that, but this is a fine-tuned system, so this counts.
Yeah, I mean, it says the average score is Ravens 24.5, but and Chargers 22.5. So I guess by the average, the Ravens would win, but in this particular matchup, Chargers blew them out. So,
all right, do you continue on with the AFC, or are we doing NFC?
Yeah, we'll continue on with the AFC just to keep it clean. So what do we got? We'll reseed. So we have the Bills versus who? Is it the Chargers?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be the Chargers 22-21.
Holy cow, that would be wild. All right.
You know what happened in that game? Brandon Staley. It was 21-14, and Brandon Staley scored a touchdown, and he went for 2 and got it. That's what happened in that game. I can tell you right now. God bless him. So then who do we got next? Is it the Chiefs and the Titans?
Yes.
Okay. Putting it in, and it's Chiefs 34, Titans 23.
All right, so we get a Chiefs hosting the Chargers matchup.
That would be interesting. Chargers are on a heater. Can they upset the Chiefs? No. Chiefs win 34-9. Okay. So the Chargers' incredible run comes to an end. All right, so we have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We have to play the NFC now. Who will they be facing? 2-7.
Okay. Your 2-7 matchup is your Minnesota Vikings versus the Los Angeles Rams.
Wow. Okay. Let's just see here. Vikings win 19-0. And that is a score that I would not be surprised.
That's a real score.
That's a real score. Because the Rams offense sucks. All right, give me the 3-6.
This is a wild one. That the 3-3. It's the 3-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Dallas Cowboys,
who are 4-2.
Again, we've already seen this game.
Okay. Buccaneers win 17-13. They move on. So no upsets yet.
Just like real life.
This is such a real prediction. Now what do we got next?
We have the San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Football Giants.
Jeez, okay. This is an interesting matchup.
I'm rooting for the G-Men.
49ers win 23-7.
Shit.
Okay. So just fun fact. Teams that are not in the playoffs, Packers, didn't make an appearance in this week's simulator.
Yeah, if you want to, I can break it down for you. Rams win tiebreaker over Atlanta and Green Bay based on best win percentage in conference games. Division tiebreak was initially used to eliminate Seattle, and Los Angeles wins tiebreaker over Seattle based on best win percentage in common games.
Okay.
So there you go.
Interesting stuff. It's a good thing it doesn't come into play until the end of the year. So we have all the division winners moving on. No upsets.
Okay, so we have Philly hosting San Fran then. Trap game for Jalen Hurts.
This could be a blowout. 27-10 Eagles. All right.
They probably scored 20 points in the second quarter.
or first quarter. One of the two.
And they scored the 7 at the very, very end.
Yep. All right. So we got
Minnesota, Tampa Bay next.
And Vikings?
Yep. At Minnesota.
Wow. Okay. Buccaneers win 27-24.
All right. So then we have a Philly, Tampa. In Philly.
The rematch of last year's wildcard weekend game. Just reversed on the home field.
Yep.
And the NFC representative against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl is going to be the Eagles.
All right.
30-19. So I guess I'll put the Eagles as the home team since they have a better record. And then in the Super Bowl, in the Week 7 simulator, Show Me Show simulator Super Bowl, Eagles versus Chiefs. We have the Kansas City Chiefs taking home the Super Bowl 32-14.
How much?
This game was simulated 32-14.
God. Hopefully,
I'll even break down the stats.
Good.
I'll break down the stats that this website gives me. The game was simulated 276 times, and there were 14 overtimes. Out of the 276 games, the Eagles won 151 times, and the Chiefs only won 125 times. So, interesting. That's the math for you. But in our matchup, the Chiefs take it. So I guess if you're an Eagles fan, then you can take this to heart that they were close.
There you go. So that's your Week 7 prediction Super Bowl winner as well, done by NFL Simulator. Real quick update. Luke probably should have went against the grain here, and if it flies, it dies, which I respect him for just going for history, but the Cardinals have doubled the Saints score right now. So
okay.
It's 35-17. The roof is open in Phoenix right now. And Saints not doing good. So Show Me Show already starting off on a bad note this week. Luckily, we have 4 games to give.
This is why I shouldn't go for history.
Yeah, that's why you should.
If I would have just went by math, I would have picked the Cardinals. But it is what it is. We can't win them all.
I think we're 41 and 41 and 37 right now. So,
okay,
about 41 and 38 with this game. We've got a 3-game bump after we lose this one. So,
I'd prefer to expand on the 4. I'd prefer to make it like 6 or 7 this week. So,
this is a wonky week though, and that's nothing against your picks. It's just a wonky week. So we'll see.
All right. Well, it's going to wrap up this week's show. And I think we expect this format from now on, kind of doing the simulator at the end because I thought that was fun. It was very uncoordinated this time. If we do it again, it'll be better coordinated and prepared. But
we probably won't do it every week. But
I think we could. Be fun. Kind of like the NFL wheel spins that we did almost.
Oh yeah, I remember those. I don't even think we finished those, but those were fun.
We were close.
Yeah.
And then the NFL season just started, and we just didn't do the rest of the teams. But we got the Texans in, so that's all that mattered. That's gonna. Hopefully everyone has a great Week 7, and a great college football weekend, and great MLB playoffs weekend. So Mizzou has homecoming with Vanderbilt this week, so hopefully that's a guaranteed win. We said at the beginning of the year it should be anyway. So for Coach Drink and the boys. So we'll send you guys in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
All right.